Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's the final days of our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
We all know those GLP-1 injections work wonders, but that price tag almost gave me a heart attack when my insurance denied coverage. I was staring at a choice between paying my mortgage or paying for weight loss. Talk about a rock and a hard place. Then I found Elevate Health compounded semaglutide at just $58 with payment plans that don't require a second mortgage. Same medication, same results, but a price that real folks can actually afford. Visit joinelevate.com today. That's JOINELEVATE.com. Your wallet will be as happy as your waistline. This medication is not FDA approved.
It's Sunday, September the 8th, and this is Doing the Thing. I'm James Gilmore, and I'm joined by Eimear O'Reilly from Outside In.
Hi, guys.
And Wizard Radio Station and Life with No Warnings, Issa Jorio. Issa, how are you?
Hey guys.
We are going to be talking about everything happening in our worlds this week. And if you're listening live on Wizard Radio Station, where we do the thing live every Sunday from 8 p.m. at UK time, you can get involved by tweeting or DMing us on Instagram or Twitter at WizRadio. Email station@wizardradio.com, and all of our details on the website wizardradio.com. Now, we have a very international episode today because, Eimear, you're in Dublin at the moment, right? Well, you live in Dublin.
I am in Dublin. Very similar to London, but not quite the same.
Not quite. Well, there's a little bit of water between us. And there's also a little bit of water between Issa. You're in Paris.
Paris. Yeah, I'm currently here.
So
and I love it.
I feel like we could, I don't know, like set up a trade route between the three of us and get some, I don't know, packages or something. But Eimear, tell our listeners, this is the first time we've had you on Doing the Thing. You obviously got a podcast. You're also an amazing tattoo artist. Tell everybody about you.
So I only been podcasting for the last 3 years, and I didn't know how much I loved it. Like, it's such a passion of mine. I didn't ever think I would ever get into it. I've been tattooing for 6 years. I've been in my studio in Blackrock in Dublin for 6 years now on the 25th of September. So I don't know, I think podcasting and tattooing, even though they're completely different, it is still kind of like talking. I feel like I have a lot of experience in talking when, talking to clients every day. And when I'm podcasting, usually I'm just talking about my self experiences and what, my opinions on things. And I think from podcasting, it has helped me so much, just like in general with life. I find, everyone listens to podcasts these days and everyone has something to say. And I love that there's such a variety of podcasts nowadays. And 4 years ago, I'd never listened to a podcast. And it's crazy how it's just taken over the world. So I'm glad to be a part of it. And it's something that I love doing.
And Issa, your podcast Live with No Warning, similar actually in a way to Outside In that they both podcasts document both of your lives individually. But tell us a little bit. You're not from Paris. You're now living in Paris. I know our listeners know you well, but it's always good to dive a little back into your story and why you are where you are.
Okay, so basically, what James said, I'm not from Paris, but I am currently here because I became an au pair. I really didn't know what to do after university. I feel like a lot of au pairs actually become au pairs because they have no idea what they want to do. So I feel like I want to start talking a lot more about au pairing because it's talked about, but not that much. Because there's like small details, and I feel like it's really fun to dig into each one of those little things. So yeah, but apart from that, I like it. Just I'm not used to the weather. It rains all the time compared to Mexico. Like I miss Mexico and the weather, like it being all sunny all the time. Like here, it's kind of depressing, in my opinion. I'm not used to it.
I feel like the weather between the three, Paris probably has the best weather between like, then I'd say London, and I feel like Dublin's got a reputation for being very rainy.
We're always shafted with the worst weather. Like it's crazy. Like seeing as September has started, autumn has come along. We've had like some of the best weather all summer this weekend.
Whoa.
It was crazy. Like everyone, like, and especially I find in Ireland, like once the sun comes out, it could only be like a little bit out. Everyone is like, we're going for swims, we're going to the beach, we're going, like, we really take advantage of that weather. And I guess it's just because we don't have it that much, but like I actually enjoy the season changing because yes, we don't have the sunniest days, in summer, but when we do, everyone's so grateful and everyone is in such a good mood. And then of course, then when it's when it's raining, it's such a topic of conversation. I feel like Irish people have games that like people know them through talking about the weather all the time because we're so focused on, I think, the weather depending on our moods nearly. But I actually adore the seasons changing in Dublin because it's so prominent. Like it's, when it's cold, it's cold. And it's kind of the same in London as well. Like
I feel like in London it's been ruined. Like I really feel in London you can see the impact of climate change because we now have these like long summers that start in April or May and we get these really hot days and you still obviously get rain and some overcast days, but I don't know, I feel like the seasons are less pronounced here than they once were. And it's getting hotter in London. I never remember it being like it is now. And I'm a big fan of rain. I'm a big fan of like thunderstorms. And my ideal temperature is like 3 degrees Celsius. So I don't like that 20 has become really normal in London. And I don't like that.
I've heard that so much recently that like people are moving over to London now for the summer. Obviously to get like the city experience, but also the weather. And I was so shocked about that because I think years ago I'd always like view the weather in London and Dublin the same.
Yeah.
Because it was the same, I guess. And then you guys got an upgrade. I don't know how you got an upgrade.
No, I'll take the Dublin weather.
Climate change.
I also think that probably that means that London will be underwater way before Dublin is. You guys will be swimming to work and you guys will still be driving. So yeah, but anyway.
Well, at least we won't have to get a plane anymore.
Yes, well, yeah, exactly.
We'll be connected.
Yeah. Well, the world used to be like that, and one day it'll be like that again before we got islands. Anyway, another thing happening at the moment is, this is a very sharp connection, but this past week, kids have been going back to school. Thought we should move on to our first proper topic. And there's been a lot of talk about the impact of phones in school. Issa, actually, I'm interested in your perspective as an au pair. And you've just last week, I think, or this week, you started with a new family.
I just started.
And you were telling me earlier they're what, like 5 years old?
5 and 8.
So what's their relationship like with their mobile phones, if any, if they even have?
Actually, let me just say that a lot of au pairs, like their families don't allow their kids to use phones or like any sort of like, like an iPad TV during the week, but during the weekends they're allowed.
I think
a lot of families
healthy.
are like that.
I mean,
no, I agree. Yeah.
There's a real issue in schools with phones. Eimear and I were saying before that when we were in school, and Issa, you're a little bit younger, and I'm interested to hear what it was like because you went to like 100 schools in 100 different countries. For us, like having a phone in school wasn't that big of a deal because it wasn't a problem. Like I was allowed we were meant to put our phones in our lockers. I had mine with me all day. As long as it wasn't seen or heard, it was fine. Eimear, was that the same for you?
Yeah, it was the exact same. Like, as long as it's not seen or heard, it was fine. But you know what I think is crazy? That they've now implemented iPads they've
Oh
gotten rid of
yeah,
books and now they're
instead of
bringing in
paper.
iPads. So they're already gluing them to screens and they're
Yeah.
saying you can't have your own personal mobile. Like, what happens? The one thing that came into my head was bullying.
Mm.
And or even just like, emergencies. Like, I think having a phone in school, obviously there is such an addiction nowadays, and especially with TikTok, everyone's attention spans have, you know, they don't have them anymore. Like, it's like 20 seconds. But I do think that there should be some leeway to it, because I think it's really important to be able to contact, say, your parents. School ages start at what, like 13? You know,
For
so
secondary
having to
school,
be
yeah.
able to contact being able to contact your parents is so important. Letting them know that you're on the bus home, or it should
Yeah,
just
that's
be put
true.
in your bag. Now there should be maybe a rule, or there should be a confiscation if seen, and that will scare people to not take it out. But it is kind of one of those things where you can't take away that from kids when it's a necessity to have in certain situations.
Yeah, I remember when I
Hmm.
was like, particularly like year 12 and 13, I would like sometimes at lunchtime like go to the toilet and like quickly like open my phone and see like what was going on in the world. But but I was like, that wasn't a big thing that everybody did. I wouldn't do it
Hmm.
the whole time. I'd do it like from time to time. I just feel like our relationships with our phones, at least then, were so different to now. And if you're a kid who's grown up around this and you are addicted, for me, I could have had my phone in my pocket all day at school and not look at it. I knew I wasn't
Yeah.
allowed to. I just liked knowing that it was actually on me and it hadn't been stolen from my
Mhm.
locker or whatever. I feel like
Of course.
maybe this is the wrong thing to say, but I doubt if most kids could do that. I feel like if the phone's on you, you are distracted by it.
Absolutely. Like, it's I was watching a movie the other day, and it really stuck with me. And it was like a woman in the back of a taxi, and the taxi man said, she was looking out the window, and the taxi man said, "Wow, it's really nice to see you not head down on your phone." And that made me realize, on public transport, I was hyper aware of just looking around. And it's all people are doing, even on public transport. It's like, the second we have a chance to sit down or have a moment to spare, we're on the phone. And I'm guilty of it too. I
Mm.
do it all the time. But it's just one of those things that, I don't know, with school, it would be very difficult for them to make this happen, because kids are always going to bring their phones to school. Parents will want them to bring their phones to school.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's
Well,
just a case of, yes, if you're caught, take it off them. But other than that, what can they do? Check their bags.
yeah. Well, I was reading this article on Friday, which this is complete coincidence, but it's about this company called Yonder, I think. And they do these like pouches that you put your phone in, they lock the pouch, and then it's a certain machine that unlocks them. I went to see a comedy show like 2 years ago, and this is what they were doing. I've seen something else as well where they like locked it in a bag. You cannot interact with your phone whilst it's in the bag, and you can't easily unlock it. Like, there's a padlock on it or something that only certain few people have. And in America now, they've started using this technology. They know that every kid is coming to school with a phone. So as you walk in, you get your phone locked up and they take it from you. And then at the end of the day, you get it back. And
Hmm.
if you show up and you say, I don't have a phone, they know you're lying, because every kid's got a phone. So I'm interested,
Yeah.
Issa, in your experience, because Issa, you travelled a lot when you were younger and still. And so you've been
Uh-huh.
to lots of different schools in lots of different countries. What's your experience been like?
The thing is, with me in Mexico, the first thing you have to do is, like, the teachers go around the classroom with a box, and you have to put your phone in there, and you won't be able to get your phone. But then in another school that I went to, um, you were allowed to have your phones with you the whole day. Obviously, people would use their phones, but they would just hide it from the teachers. It wasn't as intense as the other school where you had to, like, literally put your phone in a box until the end of the day, and then they would give it to you back. I think that's a little too intense, though. Like, I get what you guys were saying about, like, kids still looking at their phones when they have it in their hand, because it's like, you can't not look at your phone when you have it in your hand, I feel like. Because I'm guilty for that too.
Yeah.
But no. But they would also, the thing is also, when you had your phone with you and a teacher saw you with your phone, and if it was a Friday, they would keep your phone till Monday, which
wow.
is not like, why? That's way too intense.
Yeah. I remember in my school,
that.
if you were caught with your phone, you got it confiscated for the week. So, and that is like insane to think about. I think if I got my phone, I don't remember what happened when I got mine taken from me. It only happened once. But I just always thought, like, would the parents not be like, where the hell are you? Like, I would always text my parents as I got on the school bus. And if you don't do that, they'd be worried. So, or even
a
if
week
it's
is
like,
crazy.
Yeah, it's really intense. I am wondering though, and this doesn't just have to be about phones, but seeing as lots of people are going back to school at the moment, if we were like a principal or a head teacher and we had to decide one rule that would like make school better for people and just a better overall experience, what would that rule be? And Eimear, I'll ask you first.
Oh, well, you're asking the girl that hated school.
Yeah.
Like, I look back on my school days and I have no good memories, honestly. I really didn't enjoy it. I'm not academic. I'm extremely dyslexic. And I think from tattooing teachers now, it's changing. But I think back when I was in school, there was no conversation really about mental health. But I think also learning difficulties. There was this weird kind of, now obviously other schools are different and each school, like I went to a full Irish school, so I like did everything through Irish. I'm fluent in Irish. But I don't think there was a very personal connection with the teachers. I feel like you're kind of just thrown into a class and then this is your teacher and that's that. And you know, they probably teach millions of students, but I would have a rule that like you have to meet your teachers and have a chat with them. Like something so simple. Nothing like, I look at schools and I think, you know, with uniforms and how strict they are, like my school was so strict, like you couldn't even wear nail polish. It was like, you know, you couldn't have your hair past a certain length. And I think I would want, if I was a principal in school, I would want kids to express themselves. And by expressing themselves is being themselves. And by being themselves, their teachers should know who they are, you know, talk to them. And that's, I don't even know how a rule would implicate there. Because I have so many things that I'd change about the education system. But I definitely, there needs to be more of like a connection. So whether there was a rule to, right, you have to have at least a 1 hour meeting with every teacher, and that's a rule. And you just have to talk to them, tell them about yourself. Because there's no, I guess, there was no personal connection within my time in school. It was you're thrown in, and it's also a lot of the older teachers had still the same, you know, ways about them as like 20 years ago. And things are changing obviously as well. And then when it comes with learning difficulties, because I struggled so much with dyslexia and, you know, I was learning everything through Irish, I actually acted out as, you know, a bratty teenager in school who didn't care. But I wasn't, it's not that I didn't care. I actually cared way too much. And that's why I acted out. But they wouldn't have known that. Like, I was asked to leave my school at one stage because I felt like there was no connection there. And the only teacher that kind of like gave me that time of day was, she actually had a daughter in my year. And I feel like it was mother's instinct, you know. Well, obviously there's a reason behind this, but if my rule wouldn't be strict like phones, nothing. Well, obviously certain types of rules with phones within reason, but I think I would implicate a rule that like you have to know your teachers and your teachers have to know you, and there has to be some level of like getting to know them. I think because they can only help you.
I was just going to say, I remember when I was in school, we did like a 1-to-1, maybe like once a month, but it was very much like 5 to 10 minutes because she had 3 other students to see and there were set questions she had to ask. And you felt like it was happening because of an obligation. rather than actually them getting to know you. I do also think what you said about the teacher who had a student in your year is really interesting, because a lot of the times, particularly with badly behaved students, like teachers and schools just act like you're a problem. They don't try to figure out why. They go, you're misbehaving, so we're going to punish you, instead of actually like, what's going on here? I mean, just that. Issa, what rule would you make?
What if I tell you I have no idea? I mean, I agree, because I have dyscalculia, which is like dyslexia but with numbers, and so school as well for me wasn't my favorite place to be, because teachers didn't really care. Like, from like the 8 different schools I've been to, nobody really helped me. So I never really felt like school was a safe place where I was like, oh my God, yes, like this is the perfect place where I can, connect with other people. I don't know what rule. I mean, I agree with like, sitting down with your teachers and getting to know them and like actually creating a connection with them, because you spend so much with those teachers that is very important. But I can't think of anything else. I really can't.
I'll jump off of Eimear what you said about expression, because I always thought when I was in school that the schools put so much energy towards things that don't really matter, like these like weird uniform rules, like you said about your hair being a certain length, is like so useless and bizarre. And so I think that I would kind of like, it would almost be like an anti-rule in that I would just scrap those rules. And I think that people act out, to your point, Eimear, because they feel like they can't express themselves. And I don't, and I'm sure there are studies that will disagree with this, but I just don't see the benefit of, literally, there was a period of time in my school where as you walked through the front gates every morning, there would be 2 teachers standing there to check that your uniform was right. And it actually ended up with complaints, because there would always be a male teacher there, like judging the girls' appearances. And it became like a problem. And I just thought, like, this is so unnecessary. As somebody that like has staff and has a team and works from a place of work every day, obviously within reason, like, who cares what you wear? Like, as long as, like, you're not like coming up in a bathing suit, like, it's whatever. So yeah, anyway, we do have to move on, but I think that's interesting. We're going to be back after this with lots more, so don't go anywhere. And we are back with Doing the Thing. We were just talking about schools and everybody going back to school and what rules we would create or uncreate. But now we're talking about the kind of other side, which is incredibly successful people who are older, who have been through education. And now, in the case of Selena Gomez, is a billionaire. Bloomberg have released an estimation that her fortune is now at $1.3 billion, which comes from a mixture of acting. She's currently in Only Murders in the Building, music, her rare beauty makeup line, as well as endorsement deals with the likes of Puma. I guess let's start off with this, though, because there's a theory that says that nobody should be allowed to become a billionaire, that amount of money is just ridiculous, and that every kind of dollar after $999 million or whatever should be donated to charity or given to the government in taxes to prevent people from amassing that much wealth. I'm going to say Issa first. Do you think that is, do you believe that, or do you think that people should be able to become billionaires?
I think if you have enough money to the point where you're like considered a billionaire, you should, what you said before, James, like you should at least help people outside, like, I don't know, pay taxes so the world can be a better place, or like your city, just like try to help in some way, because I feel like if you have that much money you're not trying to help in any way, that, like, yeah, I get you worked hard for it, but still, that's way too much money for absolutely no reason. So I would help. That's what I would do.
That's
in some way.
So, Eimear, Issa saying there that you should have to put your money to good use, whether that is through taxes or charity, if you become so wealthy, whilst acknowledging also, obviously, that you've worked hard for it. That is a crazy amount of money. What do you think?
I think when I look at the likes of someone like Selena Gomez, for example, like that girl has been acting since, I think she was in Barney at the age of 4. So I look at people like that and I'm like, okay, well, you know, and in fairness to her, and like I know it's a conversation as a whole, but I do know that her makeup line, it's like, I think all of the money is donated to mental health awareness.
Interesting.
If I'm correct. Rare Beauty is, I'm almost positive about that. So I know that she does her bits for charity, but in it as a whole, I totally agree. Like, it's so much money. And I think that the way things are going now, when you see like people not being able to afford, you know, rent to pay or moving into a home with their family, or, you know, starting a family, like so everything is so behind now. And obviously, because of the way the world is and how much businesses are struggling, I think we look at those type of situations and we're like, oh my God, you know, that's so much money. But I do think that if someone has, you know, worked all their life, they kind of deserve it from such a young age, because you put a lot on the line but when you're famous, and you know, you lose out on a lot of things. And not to sound, you know, sloppy, but, you know, they probably aren't the happiest, even though they have all that money. So, like, in those situations, I'm like, they definitely have lost out on a lot of experiences that we've probably had. So in those ways, you can go, okay, well, I kind of win at life with that. But of course, there should be some sort of rule, because there isn't, like, there's loads of, you know, billionaires. I'm pretty sure the Kylie Jenner, one of the Kardashians, like, she's a billionaire and she's the same age as me, and I don't think that she does half as much work with charity. But for the likes of Selena Gomez, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I looked up about the Rare Beauty donations. So it's not a straightforward answer. So 1% of all sales of Rare Beauty go to the Rare Impact Fund, which contributes to mental health charities. But then there are other things. So like on World Mental Health Day, 100% of sales are donated, and they do things like that. So they are very charitable. Okay. I also think that, like, I know Bill Gates, who's one of the richest men in the world, has donated and pledged to donate 50% of his money to charity across his life. I tend to think that, I agree that if you have like $1 billion, you need to be doing something good for the world. I don't think that's taxes, though. I think that, like, what we've seen in society is that governments really aren't good at helping people. They're really inefficient. And this is a part of Bill Gates's thing, is that actually it's better to, like, go and start a charity that is actually on the ground helping people, and it doesn't have as much red tape and can move a bit faster than, you know, every penny after $1 billion going to government. We already, you know, if you're a billionaire, you already pay quite high taxes on at least the cash that you've got. And yet we're in a world where there are more billionaires than ever, and governments have no money, and people are struggling more than ever. I also agree, Eimear, with what you said about Selena Gomez in particular. There was always this rule that, like, in order to become a billionaire, you have to basically have people working for you that are being exploited. There's no way to become a billionaire without exploitation. For me, the Selena Gomez example is more that she has worked her entire life and been really successful. And so maybe she hasn't exploited people. On my last point, on the Kylie Jenner thing, I saw, because she was like on the Forbes most like richest list, and then about 6 months later there was an expose by Forbes claiming that she had tricked them. And it's a really interesting read, and that they basically like got all of her, because to be on the list, you have to give them your bank statements and loads of evidence, and that they basically think that it was all forged by Kris Jenner to get her on the list. So
my God.
Yeah, so
I
don't
did not know that. I'm going to be Googling this after.
It's like, it was so interesting. It's the two people who like put her on the list at Forbes wrote an article being like, we think we got tricked. It was interesting.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Issa, if you became a billionaire tomorrow, if you won like some crazy lottery, what would you do? Like, what's the first thing you would do?
What a good question. Honestly, I think I would. This is gonna sound like so like, oh my God, but for sure, like I would help a charity or help with
Issa, you wouldn't.
some sort
I'm
of.
sorry, if you became a billionaire tomorrow, you wouldn't suddenly start helping a charity. You'd do something for yourself.
I would.
No, you. Okay,
Like,
if you say you would,
I
then
would.
you would. But I don't believe you. Not for a second.
No. No, I would because I don't know what I need. I don't need anything else. Like what? I would get like a new camera or something, a microphone.
Issa, maybe you'd like stop being an au pair and buy a house. I don't know, just an idea.
No, because I like being an au pair. It's an experience, okay?
Okay, so
like that's the thing.
I see. So you've become a billionaire and you're still an au pair because you like it.
Yeah.
I don't believe that for a second. Eimear, what would you do?
Oh God. And I know this sounds sappy, but like the first thing I would do was go to my parents and be like,
oh my God,
take everything, take as much as you want. You've done enough for me. That would be the first thing on my list. Second thing on my list, I would look for somewhere to live and I would buy somewhere. And then I would probably go on a big fat holiday and try sort out what I can do to maybe help someone else with this. It would be more, I would focus on helping my friends and my family first, because especially in Dublin, it's really, really difficult like businesses are closing. It's really difficult to survive at the moment. Like most of my friends are moving away. They're all moving to London, and, you know, Dublin is suffering massively. And especially like I have a business that's been going for 6 years, and like I have seen so many businesses close down recently, and it's so scary, and they've been around since I was a kid. So if I could help, you know, your local Irish business, that's probably what I would do. I would literally go from business to business, see what I could do for them. And then, you know, obviously get some nice things for myself, but definitely my family would be number one on the list. I'd be like, you guys, you know, did everything for me, so please take away. And then, it's the businesses thing is really is striking such a chord with me at the moment, because I'll be going into my 6th year, and it is difficult. You know, rent is getting higher, supplies are getting higher, and thankfully I don't have any employees. It's just myself. But like, I can't imagine how stressful it would be if I did have employees, and how stressed I would be. So, yeah, supporting the local Irish businesses would probably be top list as well.
Bro, I sound so selfish.
Yeah,
for real. Like the difference.
Sound selfish. Yeah.
No.
I think that the first thing I wouldn't do is probably tell anybody. I feel like suddenly you have that much money at play, like as few people as possible need to know. And I think, I don't know, I think the first thing I do if I wake up with £1 billion is I've now got like $500 million, because I'm going to give half to somebody that can actually like manage it and grow it, so it's not my only billion. And I feel like with $500 million in the hands of like an investment company, I don't know, something like that, like get that so I can't touch it, and so that's secure. I think there's a bit of like making sure your parents' house is paid off and the bills are paid, and people around you not having to struggle so much, I think is really important as well. And then I really agree with what you said, Eimear, about like taking yourself away and figuring out actually what can I do now? Because I imagine it must be really generally difficult to figure out where you find purpose if you like suddenly win the lottery. Your whole life up until that moment has been about making money to survive, and therefore doing a job that you don't hate so you can make money to survive. Suddenly, if that's taken out the equation, figuring out what motivates you and how you want to live your life, that's going to be like an existential question.
Absolutely. And like, I see people, even going traveling, and they've, built up a lot of money to go traveling, and they've planned trips away for 8 months, and then they're like, oh God, and they're struggling to find purpose within them going traveling. They get that feeling inside them where they're like, what is my purpose with life? That's just because we are, we're grown up, we're pushed out, and we're made, work. And at the moment we're working, but we're not earning enough to live life. So, people go on holidays and they're away or traveling, and they are still struggling to find purpose, even though they've worked their asses off for it,
Yeah. It is interesting that, like, it comes down to how ingrained it is in us that you, like, grow up, go to school, work, and then die. And that's when that's interfered with a bit, it changes. Issa, what do you feel about, I know you've travelled a lot, but you've travelled and worked to sustain, you've not, like, just gone travelling. How do you feel about that? Would you, if you suddenly had loads of money, go and travel the world?
Oh no, definitely. Like, I think, see, now that I'm thinking about it and what you guys said too, I think probably that would be my first thing, because I think traveling does make me the happiest all the time. So, because I feel like if I were to be stuck in a place for like more than 6 years or more than 3 years, I think that would make me so depressed. So I think for real, what I would do is travel and use that money for that. But also, I just want to add the fact that you guys, this is very random, but you guys make me feel like I'm talking to like the most intelligent people ever, and I'm just like saying the most like basic, dry, like answers ever.
No,
but I mean, like, go off.
But if you become a billionaire, so you do have to invest some of it, because it can't be your
for sure.
It can't be your last billion. But anyway, we are going to go to a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to be talking about some changes on YouTube to protect young people, and also we're going to find out a little bit more. I want to find out more about tattooing and like what that's like, and your clients. So we're going to talk about that also after this. And we are back on Doing the Thing. Now, YouTube have announced that they're going to be limiting access to certain health and fitness videos to teenagers to prevent negative beliefs about body image from developing. If you watch fitness videos or any videos that encourage unhealthy kind of fitness ideas, you won't be encouraged similar content afterwards, and those videos will be suppressed on YouTube moving forwards. I mean, talk about late to the game, but they are doing something. Eimear, I'm interested in your opinion on this.
I'm interested to know, is it health and fitness, or is it like people talking about dieting? There's a very fine line between, I think fitness is so important for people to know that is a massive positive impact on people's mental health. And, to suppress or hide videos regarding fitness, I feel like they'll have to be very careful on what and how they kind of scan it, because, like, I think it's very important to teach kids that this fitness is good for you and fitness is a thing. Now, to be honest, if there's anything that they should be focusing on, it should be focusing on promoting, I guess, fakeness online. Like, put a ban to filters on Instagram. Put a ban to using, get rid of the Photoshop apps. As a woman, like, you see these people that are, influencers, or they're famous, and they're putting up photos online of, photoshopping their bodies. That affects me more than seeing someone talking about their fitness journey, or someone talking about them going for a run, and how, because a lot of the time, yes, I think sometimes when it comes to fitness, and I found this with myself, because I have definitely had a huge addiction to fitness when I was younger, and that resulted in some sort of like an eating disorder, and I was obsessed with the gym, obsessed with it, and it was an unhealthy obsession. So I can absolutely see two sides of it, but I think they have to be very careful on what they ban, because do they not want young kids to, or teenagers to work out? You know,
It's interesting.
It's weird.
There's a little
You
bit more
know?
detail here. So, this is specifically for teenagers, which does mean that in order for this to work, you'd have to be on a YouTube account that's logged in. If you're not logged in, there's not going to be any difference. But when they view certain types of content, including videos that compare physical features and idealize some types of bodies over others. So I imagine that's things that say this certain body shape is bad and this type is good. Videos idealizing specific fitness levels or body weight. So that's essentially body shaming videos. And then videos displaying social aggression in the form of fighting and intimidation. So I imagine that's anything that's kind of got violence in it as well. So I don't know, does that change your opinion? Because I can see how like a workout video could also fall into that category.
Yeah, I feel like, of course, it could be triggering for people. You know, it could be extremely triggering. And I think with Instagram and YouTube, like, I find YouTube, you know, unless you're consistently watching fitness videos, or say if you're watching music videos, that will be your search. But if it doesn't usually just pop up out of the blue, you know, if you're watching it, if you're consistently watching them, then I feel like more will come up. But, you know, I don't know. I think Instagram needs to get onto that. I don't think YouTube is really a problem. I think Instagram or even TikTok. I think YouTube is probably, you know, people would go on YouTube and they'll look up, you know, a yoga session or a Pilates session. But I feel like with the 20-second reels and the Instagram, how it works now, it's so much more impactful because you see so much more of it. It's so much, it's quicker. And again, you can't, of course you can edit videos on YouTube, but not to the extent that you can on Instagram. And I feel like teenagers these days, like, aren't really on YouTube as much. They're on TikTok and Instagram. So I think they all need to come together and make an agreement and, you know, put that at play, because it's what is destroying young women and males' mental health is Instagram and TikTok.
It's interesting. Easter's just lost connectivity but is trying to rejoin. I think the problem with that on like TikTok and Instagram is that it's kind of, obviously there is a lot of things that are very like, that say what they are particularly body shaming and are quite bold, but I think some of the most harmful content is not actually that this person has said this thing, it's that you've scrolled through and you've seen 10 or 15 or 20 videos that just so happen to have a certain body type. And it's like, particularly with TikTok, because you see so many videos because they're so short, that you kind of start to see a trend and you start to get an idea. And again, it's not that any one piece of content has necessarily said anything overt to you. It's more the like nuance and the underlying message. Yeah. It's the underlying message that you get from seeing videos whereby people are only seen one way and a kind of a certain body image or look becomes aspired to. And so I think that does come much more to the platforms than to the creators, to like be a bit more thoughtful about what the algorithm is showing.
There should be. I know that there is a button on Instagram where if a video pops up that you don't like it and it's inappropriate or it doesn't, it's, you know, sometimes you can view a video once or something pops up for you and then those videos will show multiple. It's like an algorithm. And there is like a button where it's like, disinterested, I don't like this or whatever. You can click that and then it will go away. But I think, it's definitely, there's so much time for this conversation at the moment because, like, I was even talking to someone the other night, and it's crazy to even say this, but it's like, they were saying how, the trend on TikTok, it's called heroin chic, and it's about being really skinny again. And basically heroin chic was, you know, what models aspired to be back in the day, like models like Kate Moss, and, you know, you saw all of them, like Paris Hilton, Lindsay Lohan, and all, like, you know, their body shapes constantly changed, and they, you know, went through a phase of being extremely thin. And now there is a trend on TikTok of this body shape. So not only are we going back in time to extremely, I thought we grew from that. I thought we really grew from that, and we got over that like, you know, everybody is gorgeous, and the fact that it's now a trend is scary. That is scary. And unfortunately, a lot of the trends come from Reels and TikToks.
Yeah.
Like that is what it is. Like
true.
It's crazy. It's like, you know, a body shape is now a trend. And like, let's think about when we think about the Kardashians, right? Now, the one thing, like, my mommy will throw her eyes up to heaven when she hears me say this, but when I was in school and the Kardashians came onto TV, they were normal sizes. They weren't small. They weren't. Now, this was before they got any surgery. They completely destroyed the name that they made themselves with changing the body type, because now they're all extremely thin and they all have, you know, boob jobs and everything. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's whatever suits them. But I remember growing up and seeing them being like, oh my God, like they're all, you know, they're not what I saw when I was younger. And now it's completely gone backwards. And that's all from a trend.
Yeah. Issa, what do you think about this? Do you think that, I mean, just more broadly, I guess, the kind of negative impact of social media on body image and how we see ourselves, is that something that you kind of have seen, and is that something that you feel?
Oof, like, I struggle with that. I feel like social media has definitely taken a toll on a lot of people, especially, I think, women, because exactly, like, you know, we see this body type and we see how people, like, glorify them. They're like, wow, like, this is, like, if you look like this, you are the prettiest human on planet Earth. And we kind of do that to ourselves. And so, in my case, I beat myself up for that. I see this girl, she's wearing this amazing outfit and she has, like, a beautiful body. Obviously, it's going to affect me because I'm like, okay, I'm seeing all these comments. They're like, wow, you're so perfect, you're so pretty. And then I see someone else who has, like, a different type of body, like my type of body. And then everyone in the comments, for some reason, they think, oh, I can, like, comment on how they look, which no one should do ever. So I think it is crazy. Like, it's something, yeah, exactly. It's crazy. And people find it so normal now to just comment on people's bodies. And yeah, it's crazy, and I don't like it. And I feel like it's going to be hard to change that now because everyone's on social media and everyone has, like, you know, they're free to say whatever they want to feel.
I mean, Issa,
people don't think before.
Just to jump, because you said you don't know what needs to happen. So this conversation's obviously come off the back of YouTube saying that they're going to block young people from seeing certain types of content around, like, fitness videos potentially, or body shaming videos. Do you think if that came to TikTok or Instagram, that would make a difference?
I think it would help a little bit. I think it would, but for some reason, I feel like people would still find other ways to be able to still comment on other people's bodies. I mean, we could try to do many things, but I don't think it would help totally in a way. I mean,
it's more the keyboard warriors, though. Like, when you see the comments on things and how they're allowed to comment these things is, I think, the issue. It's like, how are you allowed to say this about someone on someone's picture? Like, I don't know what they would have to put into play of being able to review comments before you can even, or even just stop comments altogether. It's the reviewing, and, you know, they need to put something, because, like, when I think of TikTok, I actually never got TikTok. I don't have TikTok. Reels is enough for me, and because I am addicted to Instagram, and we all are. But I think TikTok was something that I never went on because I was like, I get too overstimulated and too overwhelmed by Instagram anyway. But from what I've heard from a lot of people and a lot of my friends is, you know, the comment section in TikTok is much worse than Instagram. Much worse. And it's not monitored. And that's where a lot of the cyberbullying is happening. Now, you know, I've seen Instagram as well, absolutely, especially those viral videos. You get a lot of, you know, random people commenting. But there should be something that is put into place to stop that, because people get influenced by each other. And they think it's okay to comment on it because there's nothing done about it. I remember on Facebook, I think they had, if you were to leave a comment that like was nasty, I'm pretty sure it got deleted. Or maybe it could have been Bebo. I don't even know if you guys were on Bebo.
I wasn't. I would just say that when I was younger, if I opened a Microsoft Word document on a computer and wrote a swear word, my dad would pretend that the police had phoned. And they're like, oh, look what you've done. So I've never understood anybody. Like, why do people comment on stuff? Like, in general, we had a video on our Instagram, actually, that last week that has gone really viral. I think it's like 3 million views now. And I look at the comments and I go, there's a mixture of just opinions and some not so nice stuff. I just thought, who really just spends the time commenting their opinion? Like, well, I think that's such a weird thing to do. I know we are kind of sat here talking about our opinions on things, but to me, this is healthier than like somebody just seeing a random video and like commenting. I've never been compelled to do that in my life, ever.
No.
Yeah,
never. There was a video that I did, it was last week, and it was someone asking me just in town. Oh my God, sorry, my cat. There was my cat just jumped over the screen there. But they asked me what was my favorite pizza. What was my favorite place to get a pizza in Dublin? And I gave my personal opinion, and I have never seen so much hate on a video about my accent, how I dressed, why that was my favorite pizza. And it was like, do people actually have the time to be... Did they not ask me my opinion? It's like people have too much time. It's so accessible. And everyone, I think, is bored as well.
Yeah.
I think they're bored.
I agree. Well... on that note, we have run out of time. This has been an amazing hour. Thank you so much, Isa and Eimear, for joining us. Eimear, where can our listeners find you on your podcast name and on social media?
So my podcast name is Outside In with Eimear O'Reilly. You can also listen on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and you can find me on Instagram, Eimear O'Reilly and _. And yeah, I hope you guys tune in. Amazing. And Isa, what about you?
Well, you can listen to me live every Sunday on Wizard Radio. I talk about my life, basically like an open diary. And I talk about my experiences living and traveling. I've lived in 8 countries, so I go more in depth into all of that. Then I also have my own podcast, which is called Life with No Warning. Again, I literally expose everything about myself there, and I just talk about other topics as well, like living in a Latino household, or like my sister comes and joins me as well, and we talk about social media and all like what is happening in the moment. And then also I have Instagram, which is Jorio, Jorio. I'm trying to post more, but it's kind of hard now being literally a mom, an au pair, basically. So no, but yeah, I had a really nice time.
Amazing.
It was fun.
Well, thank you both so much. Don't forget, Doing the Thing is on Wizard Radio Station every Sunday from 8 p.m. UK time and on all podcast platforms from Monday morning. We'll be back next week.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.